One very important thing to always do before you start doing any kind of static stretching. All right, so static stretching is when you hold a stretch. So you get in a position and you hold it for about 30 seconds. In order to improve your flexibility, you really have to hold the stretch 20 to 30 seconds. All right, and research has backed that up. So anything shorter than that, you're not really doing too much. So we're going to do a lot of static stretches today, but first you want to make sure you warm up for about 3 to 5 minutes. I will go ahead and do a quick warm up that you can follow along if you'd like to. It'll be just kind of basic. If you're already warmed up, I will leave a timestamp in the description that you can skip ahead to the first stretch if you're already ready to go. But either way, make sure you're warmed up. So let's go ahead and start doing that. So warming up can just be as simple as stepping side to side. The main thing is you want to get your blood flowing, get your heart rate up just a little bit. It's nothing crazy, all right? And then also do some dynamic movements. So stepping side to side is good, kind of marching in place like this is good. You could also get on a treadmill for a few minutes just walking. You could go for a walk. You can do jumping jacks. There are all kinds of options you can do. I'm going to stick with this for right now just so I can keep talking and go over a few things before we get into the stretches. So, like I said, it's very important to warm up. That's what we're doing now. If at any point anything is painful, please stop whatever stretch we're doing at the time, okay? Stretching, flexibility work should be uncomfortable, but not painful, okay? So if at any point something is really painful, please stop, okay? It's not worth pushing through pain. I don't want you to injure yourself, okay? I mean, none of these stretches are very crazy, but if you maybe have a current injury, a past injury, something like that, just be careful. When in doubt, if you've had like surgery or something, please talk to your doctor or physical therapist or surgeon and just make sure you know what exercises and even like stretches are good or maybe not good to do. Okay. For example, I dealt with a really bad herniated disc in my very lower back a few years ago. And so it's doing okay now, a few years out. But at the time, I had to be really selective in what I did and did not do. And I worked with a physical therapist for that. So please be safe with your stretching. All right. Ooh, this warm up is getting me warm. I'll tell you what. All right, let's do a few more seconds. Again, if you feel like you need a longer warm up, feel free to pause this and keep, jumping jacks, go for a short little walk, whatever you need to do. If you've already taken a ballet class, you are ready to go. So you can skip ahead. um, most of our stretches today are going to be lower body stretches, but we can do some shoulder arm circles just to get the blood flowing. We will reverse the other way, and then we will wrap up our warm up. I am out of breath after our warm up. I'm not really sure what that means, but anyway. All right. Okay. I think we are warmed up. We are ready to go. So, again, the goal for today is I'm going to go over what I think are the best stretches if you are trying to get your split. Okay. So, first up, we are going to get down on the mat. Now, you don't really have to have any equipment for this stretching workout. Some optional items are a mat. Okay, so we are going to be laying on the ground. If you have a mat or a towel, probably a good idea, but if you don't, it's okay. Some other optional things are a TheraBand, um, or even a towel, like a hand towel or something like that, or a dog leash, and I'll tell you why in a minute. And also, yoga blocks are optional for this too. Okay, if you don't have them, no big deal. If you're interested in getting any of these items, I'll put links in the description so that you know how to get them for the future. Okay, so first one we're going to do is just kind of starting to warm up our hips a little bit. So we're going to lay back on our back like this. Ideally, you have both legs straight out, and we're going to hug one knee into our chest. If you feel like you are better off with this foot flat on the floor, you can do that, but you'll get a better stretch if it's straight out like this, okay? Um, Otherwise, try to feel your back flat on the floor and both shoulders on the floor. Okay, so we're not twisting one way or the other. And we're just taking our hands and gently pulling our thigh and leg into our chest. Okay, should feel this kind of like I feel it mostly in the front of my hip. And actually, I even feel a little bit on the back of that leg. My legs are quite tight today. So I need to do these stretches too. All right. So after that, now from this position, we are going to straighten our leg up. And here's where you have some options, okay? If you don't have any equipment, you can just take your hands either around your thigh, around your lower leg. It'll depend on how flexible you are, okay? And you're going to pull that leg towards you as far as you can while keeping it straight. And that is extremely important, okay? You've got to keep this leg straight. If you bend it, and you might be able to get it closer to you, but you're not going to really do very much, okay? So it's better if it's farther away, but straight. And so that's why if you need to just hold on here and pull at first, okay, over time, you'll get more flexible and you'll be able to grab higher. I'd rather you do that. Some other options here, if you have the TheraBand, you can put it around your foot and then use that to pull. Sometimes it's easier, especially if you're not as flexible, to have kind of some distance here so that you're not having to grab and you can use your arms to pull. When I say pull, it's not like crazy pull, all right? Very gentle pull. Again, it should not be painful, to just be uncomfortable. Another option actually here, if you have a dog leash, it works really well because you can kind of loop the handle around your foot and pull, or a towel would also work, okay? So whatever option you have chosen, I feel like we've been here for a while now, but let's just do a few more seconds just in case. Whew, I'm out of breath after that warm up. Oh my goodness. I don't know what that means. I think it means I need to up my cardio, but that's not what we're talking about today. Okay. All right. Next, we're going to do the same two stretches on our other leg. Okay. So we're going to switch legs, starting off just hugging that knee to our chest. Again, make sure you're not arching your back. All right. So we're not like creating a bunch of space. There shouldn't be a bunch of space between your low back and the floor. It should be on the floor. And we're just gently pulling that knee to our chest. Okay, I think we are about ready. So I do have a timer going, and I'm trying to keep an eye on it because, like I said, you always want to do 20 to 30 seconds. I apologize if some of them are shorter or longer than 30 seconds. It's hard to multitask. All right, now we're going to stretch this leg up. Again, if you'd like to use the TheraBand, you can. You can also just use your hands. All right, optional TheraBand, dog leash, or towel. As for your foot, if you want to increase the stretch, I always find I get a more intense stretch if I flex my foot. But you are welcome to kind of just relax your foot, point it, whatever you want to do. The most important thing, like I said, is keeping your legs straight here. Again, if you bend it, you're not going to get the correct stretch that you need in that hamstring. All right, hamstrings are on the backs of our upper thighs. Okay, I think we are about ready to move on. All right, so those were the first two stretches. I'm going to take a second and fix my ponytail because I can feel it got messed up. So if you want to take a sip of water real quick, you'll have a few seconds while I fix this. I'm also leaning right into my mic, so hopefully the audio is okay. All right, perfect. All right, so those are the first two stretches. Next, we're going to move on to some stretches where we are on our knees, kind of kneeling, okay? And this is where if you have yoga blocks, they might come in handy, but they are not required by any means. But I'll put them here just in case. I'll show you how to use them. All right, this next one is going to be another hamstring stretch, but now we're going to be kind of up on our knees, leaning forward, okay? So the main goal here, move this out of the way and then I'll show you, is one hand on either side of your leg, foot flex, toes facing up. All right, so not going out to the side. Start leading with your chest. Lean forward with your chest. When you cannot go any farther, then you drop your head and hold, okay? Again, most important, like two important things for the stretch, that we're not twisting our hips, okay? So your hips stay square. This knee stays straight. All right. Again, if we bend our knee and go over, you're not going to get the correct stretch. Okay. That's why if you cannot touch the floor, if you are not quite there yet with your flexibility work, that's where these yoga blocks can come in handy because then you can kind of put them on either side at whatever height. You can make them shorter, taller, whatever. And then you can kind of get your correct stretch with a straight leg without touching the floor. Okay. If you don't have these, you could also use a chair. You could do this like in between your couch and your coffee table. You can get creative. Okay. But the main thing is one hand on either side, straight knee. Okay. I feel like we've been here for forever, but let's just do a few more seconds in case you were listening to me instead of stretching. As for this foot, again, I think it's good to flex it up because it'll kind of intensify that stretch on the back of your leg. But if you'd rather relax it, that is fine. Okay, so that is stretch number 3. Stretch number 4 is going to be pushing into our hip flexor. So for this one, again, you can use the yoga blocks if you need to. Now we're going to take both hands on one side. Okay, so I have my right leg in front of me right now. So I'm going to put both of my hands on the left side of my right leg, if that makes any sense. So we're not one on either side anymore. We're two on one side. And you're really leaning and pushing forward into this kind of large lunge. You should feel the stretch primarily across this area here in your hip. Your hip flexors are in front of your hip, and that's what kind of lifts your leg forward. So they're on the front. That's what we're stretching here. Okay. If you feel a stretch at this height, great. If you're very flexible, you might need to go a bit lower, like this. And again, if you need the block, you can also be up on the block or have a chair or whatever. Okay. It has probably been 30 seconds by now. We'll do a few more seconds just to be safe. Okay, great. Okay, so now we need to do the other leg, those 2 stretches on the other leg. So let's turn around. We'll start with our hamstring stretch. And okay, again, this is one hand on either side, chest forward, head down. Use the yoga blocks if you need to. Um, I'm not going to drop my head because I'll hit my microphone and I want to be able to talk to you. But please do drop your head at the bottom in your stretch, okay? Chest first, head second. Trying to keep an eye on the timer. Let's do a few more seconds. I think we're getting close to 30 seconds. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to do our hip flexor stretch. So now foot flat on the floor, both hands on one side, pushing forward. And this back leg, like I'm kind of like on my knee. So I'm kind of rotating my thigh down. It's not like my kneecap is going sideways. I'm like on my knee. And that's why having a mat that's a little bit padded is helpful here. If you're on a hard floor, it might kind of hurt your knee. So you can also just put a little towel down and that will help. Okay. Few more seconds here. All right, great. Okay, the next, so we've done hamstrings and hip flexors. This also got our quad a little bit, but let's stretch our quad just a little bit more. You can do that in a couple different ways. While we're down here, I'll just go ahead and show you this. This is actually where a dog leash or a TheraBand can come in handy because you can do a laying down quad stretch. Kind of tricky to get into sometimes. It helps if you have a partner who can help you because you'd want to loop the dog leash around your foot. But the good thing is if you do this, you can kind of pull your foot towards you. Okay, so so right now I have my right foot wrapped up in the TheraBand. My knees are close together. I'm pulling my foot towards my butt, and my left leg is flat on the floor. And then my stomach is on the floor, and my head is on the floor. Okay, that is one option you can do for a quad stretch. If you don't wanna do that, I will lead you through a standing quad stretch, okay? But if you'd rather do the laying down one, go ahead and set yourself up right now. We're gonna do standing quad. You've probably seen this one before. So our quadriceps muscles are on the front of our thigh, okay? So they're important for splits as well. So for this one, you might need to hold on to something if your balance is a little iffy. Let me try to face you and show you what to do. So you could hold on to something here, um, similar to what we did on the floor, bending one knee, pulling this foot towards your butt, pushing forward with your hips, your pelvis. All right. So if you're back, you're not going to feel it. You need to get the full thigh stretched across both the knee and the hip there. All right. And then in terms of my knees, they are close together. All right. So again, out here, you're not going to feel it correctly. Okay. So I'm not sure how long. I feel like we've been here for a very long time. Let's do a few more seconds. You might get a little extra time on some of these quad stretches. Again, if you're doing it on the floor, we're about to switch legs. All right. Let's shake it out. Let's do our other leg. All right. Quad stretch. Again, you can use this as a balance exercise as well. Just please be careful. This knee is close into the other one. I'm pulling, using my hand, my arm to pull my foot towards my butt, pushing my hips forward. Again, this is stretching the front of our thigh, quadriceps muscles. Okay, hopefully that was about 30 seconds. All right, so we have stretched hamstrings, hip flexors, quadriceps, and a couple different stretches. Um, I will say though, people want some secret stretch for splits. And to be totally honest, the best way to get a split is just to stretch your split. All right. These will help you kind of get warmed up, but doing the actual split itself and holding it wherever you are in your flexibility journey over and over again over a period of time is the secret to getting a split. All right. So for a split, again, I would start both hands on the floor. All right. Let me show you, like, as if you aren't quite flexible. So ideally, it's hard to do on this mat. Actually, let me get rid of the mat. All right. We'll put that to the side. I have this nice ballet floor here that works well. So what you want to do is slide forward as far as you can. This knee, it's very important this knee stays straight, okay? So if you can't go very far, that's where you go, okay? But you go as far forward as you can with a straight knee, okay? Once you get pretty low, that's when you would start to straighten the back knee too, okay? So I'm using my arms to hold myself up. If you're not able to go all the way down yet, you might just stay here for a little bit, all right? So holding 30 seconds, kind of hovering off the floor, and then eventually you get down into your split, okay? But I'll be quite honest, this is the best stretch to get your split, okay? The other ones will help you out and will help you get here, but um, specificity, right? If you're trying to get a split, stretch your split. All right, let's flip around and do the other one. And if you're not quite ready to do that final stretch yet, that's okay. You can just watch and learn. It can be intimidating, but really it's kind of like what we just did, just looks more like a split. All right, we kind of did what would you call it, a deconstructed split before. All right, so again, sliding forward to start. Front knee is straight. Once you get pretty far, you can go up on your hands. So I'm holding myself up with my hands and stretch your back knee. You might need to be here for a few weeks or months, okay? And then eventually you'll be able to lower yourself down all the way to the floor, okay? Splits will take time, okay? So you have to be patient. It took me a long time to get them even as a child. So you've got to be patient, but all of these stretches we went over today will absolutely help you out. And I wish you luck in your journey to your split, okay? Middle splits, I think will have to be a separate video. All these stretches will help you, but middle splits are a little bit different. So this is more for a front split. All right. Hope you enjoyed this flexibility workout. Make sure you like this video if you found it helpful. Leave a comment. you have any questions about splits, I do my best to respond to all my comments. So please leave your question or idea for a future video in the comments section. And if you have not already, please consider subscribing to this channel. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much for being here.